Hey guys, it's me, Junebug. I wanted to make a matchup tier list based on my experiences with Donkey Kong in Super Smash Bros. Melee. This is going to be subjective and based on how me and other Donkey Kongs have played Super Smash Bros. Melee throughout its history with an emphasis on recent history. Realistically, there are two matchup tier lists. One is where players are not familiar with Donkey Kong / when tournament nerves kick in. Due to Donkey Kong's monstrous punish game, he can win neutral once, twice, or a little more versus people that aren't on. But once people learn the intricacies of punishing DK, getting out of his punish, and not crumbling in the high stakes, the matchups could look a little different. That being said, because nerves are so intrinsic to the human experience, we might be seeing a potential mainstay. Donkey Kong is a very consistent character, which can be incredible for tournaments. Through a mix of his simple punish flowcharts and high survivability, you will be getting way more chances than your opponents in the high stakes. When characters are the ideal combo weight, the amount of chances your opponents get to play are limited. There is also the reality that Donkey Kong is still an uncommon character in the Melee meta. While his attributes are not that of a top tier, this can be advantageous when Melee is as practiced as it is. The rise of Donkey Kong has been relatively new for Melee's metagame, and any DK will be more practiced against top tiers than their opponents are against DK. I believe Donkey Kong could be approaching the top of mid tier, and perhaps even knocking on the door of high tiers. This is fueled a lot by recency bias, and I will admit that. But I'm going to attempt to justify it with some general matchup takes. So let's get into the real tier list. At the top, we have the matchups that I believe Donkey Kong loses solidly. Even though I don't consider any of these matchups unwinnable, such as Bowser Sheik, although sometimes even I have doubts, I do believe if both players are playing to the full extent of the matchup, it will be difficult for Donkey Kong. Falcon. Falcon has some devastating potential versus DK. But we can talk about DK's strengths first. Donkey Kong's punish is very strong. Falcon can take many an up air, although it will take slightly longer to get him into the knockdown percent for up air, which is pretty huge for combos. And Falcon has a worse than average recovery, which can lead to pretty flowchart edge guards. That's enough to keep DKs alive and thriving versus even the best of these characters. The issues come when people truly exploit DK's weaknesses. DK is so huge, so Falcon can use his enormous spaced aerials to try and poke at DK. While DK back air can contest some of these ranges, Falcon gets to the air faster than Donkey Kong, which can make it easier to anti-air him. Falcon has great grounded mobility and out-moves Donkey Kong in many ways, which can make neutral difficult for him. Donkey Kong has to move better than these characters with worse movement attributes. Playing around and with punishing DK auto-cancel bair or late bair can be a staple versus the defensive Donkey Kongs. And Falcon undershoot nair can be very difficult for DK to deal with his lack of forward-facing normals, like a Sheik forward tilt. And then there's Falcon's combo game. Walt describes it pretty well in his DK documentary, so I'll throw in some points here. Donkey Kong gets tech chased in the early percent, and chain grabbed on DIN. Falcon can up throw up air into knee for a pretty long time. Falcon doesn't edgeguard DK as hard, but he confirms into knee, which is pretty huge off a single mix-up at knockout percents. DK's main strengths come from his combo and edgeguard game on Falcon, which is all but guaranteed. Up airs will link into fair or bear off the stage. When you win neutral, there is a high reward. But this is DK's MO versus most of the high tiers. And Falcon's neutral and punish mitigate this in a lot of ways. Falcon's just a bullet. The DKs have done okay versus Falcon in recent history, but when a Falcon's on versus DK, it just looks so brutal. The run-of-the-mill Sheik style is way more likely to beat Donkey Kong than the Falcon, even though they're both winning matchups. Let me explain. Falcon has aspects of rushdown, aspects of whiff punish, and aspects of preemptive play with his aerials and grab. Sheik, on the other hand, is limited in the way she can play aggressive, so she's going to be way more reactive and defensive. Of her overshoot options, we have grab and dash attack, both which can be quite predictable. In general, Sheik players will zone you out until you get to her scrapping range, in which case you have to deal with her close range mix-ups, CC, tilts, grab, walling aerials, etc. Donkey Kong, while he can deal with many mix-ups with mixed results, depending on the character, can struggle to deal with grab. While many characters are not rewarded for grabbing heavy characters like Donkey Kong, Sheik is. And Sheik, turns out, loves grabbing. Something like Bear, which is relatively safe versus the cast, can be extremely unsafe versus Sheik at low percents. She can CC grab you, if spaced, or overshoot grab a dash back or roll away. Granted, you shouldn't bear somebody's CC as a general rule, but still, you'd be surprised how long Sheik can get away with downhold grabs. The reward off CC grab is truly terrifying, as Sheik has a tech chase for 21% into a chain grab around 62%. This damage incentivizes DK to play very, very passive, as any errant extension could lead to death. But Sheik doesn't mind passive play back. Her aerials are faster than DK's, and Sheik's Bear can contest the one strong DK spacing aerial. You're going to be taking a lot of chip damage trying to play defensive against Sheik. Sheik might be the best character at edgeguarding DK as well, with her invincible stall and back air not really caring about DK's up B drift or intangible hands. After years of not playing Sheik and only playing mid-tiers who lose to Sheik, I get it. I get the hate. This character deletes like half the tier list. It sucks. But DK matchups, there's always combo potential. Sheik will take several up airs after knockdown percent guaranteed. Even at the early percents, you can potentially clip a jump in your up air strings and have a longer guaranteed combo. And Sheik in particular will start dying around 50 to 60% to cargo up throw punch. This matchup can feel brutal if either or both characters are on their punish. I personally think it's DK's worst, but I can feel room for improvement. Maybe platform camping Sheik is the answer, maybe there's hope, but at the same time, my worst losses this year are top 100 level Sheiks, such as Enki and Zanya, who are great players in their own right, but I do think that matchup can be very difficult. And versus the really, really good Sheiks, this is what it can look like. Ice Climbers. Ice Climbers can be tricky in neutral. With a combination of wave dashes and blizzard and icicle walling, they can keep the ape out and catch up. Ice Climbers will be able to pressure DK's shield with up airs and occasionally come up for waveland grabs to keep him honest. But honestly, overall, the neutral on a non-FD stage seems quite solid for DK. DK is going to try and beat the Ice Climbers out with platform play and consistently bearing between the platforms. Ices, on the other hand, will shark DK with AC up airs and full hop up airs, making it quite difficult for him to approach. While many matchups can feel like an unstoppable force versus an immovable object in Melee, this is one of those rare matchups where both players are the immovable object, hiding behind their safe hitboxes. Donkey Kong Punch is a great separation tool against climbers, as it can be relatively safe on hit and on block. Nana can be gimped at extremely low percents by kidnapping her and throwing her away from Popo, and there's also some cheesy down B setups you could go for. Ice Climbers can potentially zero-death Donkey Kong off a single grab, just like Sheik or Falcon. This is aided by the standard tools to get grabbed, like shield grab, CC grab, light shield grab, and dash grab. Ice Climbers have a long chain grab with Sopo lasting till around 60% before DK can jump out, and by that point, handoff and nobbling setups will be well on the table. The punish is Icy's favor in a large way. DK isn't going to be getting large combos in the Ice Climbers. He will have to go for juggles, and Icy's down air and other disjoint could contest DK up air. Up B will be a catch-all versus landing Icy's aerials though, but you have to balance that with the fact that there's two climbers. Hitting Nana in any laggy way will result in Popo potentially getting a punish. Offstage play is quite easy for Donkey Kong, as he edgeguards both Popo and Nana quite well, to the point where he can charge a smash attack or punch versus side B. As Ices progress, I can see more saves and mix-ups taking place here. Edgeguarding may be a little tricky for the Ices, as I haven't seen an Ices consistently edgeguard my DK yet. Their disjoint could potentially be a huge saving grace here, as Marth is one of the better characters for edgeguarding DK. While the Ice Climbers are hard for DK, it feels better than Sheik Ice Climbers, due to his many separation tools. Which is crazy, because I was gaslit for years by top Sheiks to think that was a winning matchup. There's no way Sheik beats Ice Climbers, right? Let's move on to the slightly losing matchups. While I believe these matchups are still losing for DK, these characters are either lacking in the neutral or the punish compared to the characters we listed in the 6-4 tier. Fox. Fox has the neutral down versus most of the cast. He's the toppest of tiers, he's fast, and he shoots the gun. Dealing with the classic Fox mix-up of aerial, or shine, or grab, or up smash can be mitigated in some ways by DK's movement, but not better than a character like Marth with a very functional dash dance. DK's neutral would consist mostly of bear, CC, and grab, a very puffy neutral, so to speak. He does have several ways to deal with Fox's pressure, but more often than not, it will be preemptive. Through the use of well-timed shields, dares, grabs, and back airs, he can make this Fox sorry for ever trying to approach, and if the Fox attempts to camp, then he can charge punch, for a devastating overshoot, or a combo ender, or even Shark the Fox on his platform movement with up airs. Fox wins the advantage as well. His shine pressure is incredible, and while DK has up B and shield grab to match the disadvantage, the Fox can bait him out for huge value. On DK's side, any unspaced or unsafe pressure from the Fox can get punished hard. He will also take a mix-up and attempt to up B shield pressure, as any 4-frame hole in the pressure will give rise to this move. Fox does not win the punish game though. Fox doesn't get guaranteed throw follow-ups versus DK due to his heavier weight, which force him to mix DK up, while DK gets mixes with his DI. His main combo starters are things like Dare, Wave Shine, Up Smash, and Up Air, and DK has infinite ways to DI these moves. Many of the times, the Fox will be forced to play a landing mix-up rather than trying to get a true follow-up off of throw. DK, on the other hand, destroys Fox off of grab. There's tons of SDI that makes DK's combo game less guaranteed, but overall it's still quite powerful. While both these characters can get a lot off up air, the ability of Fox up air to be used in neutral is slightly stronger than DK's. On the other hand, DK gets more up airs off of grab and has more kill confirms in general. Edgeguarding Fox can be quite tricky, as he has one of the better edgeguardable recoveries in the game. DK can down tilt and jab to contest side B, and Bear to catch up B. He can go out preemptively in an attempt to cover up B with back air, and side B with up B on reaction. Overall, I'd say he's pretty good at edgeguarding Fox. Fox is also good at edgeguarding DK. While shine spiking him can be hard due to invincible up B, he can time it for after the DK up B comes out to avoid the invincible hitbox. Because DK up B is invincible frame 2 in the air with intangible arms, it can be useful to throw out around the same time as Fox shine. The more powerful option is definitely rinse repeat edgeguards with Bear, as DK gets a predictable amount of horizontal and vertical distance with his recovery. The way Fox wins this matchup is by abusing his speed advantage and playing disciplined, and the way DK wins is trying to break this discipline by getting his ape hands on him. I actually like this matchup quite a bit, and it's no surprise that I do, because every Fox in the top 10 this year has been upset by Donkey Kong. Falco. Prior to the DK Renaissance, this was thought as one of DK's worst matchups. Falco could just lock down DK indefinitely, and there was nothing he could do. Well, now there's plenty of answers. Falco is a character that thrives off his ability to shift neutral into advantage state on a dime. Because of laser, he was mostly going to be playing the game in advantage. And it was thought that DK could do nothing about laser due to a mix of his non-functional forward-facing shield and other attributes. Now, DK is power shielding lasers back, light shield power shielding, dash back power shielding, all these meta ways to reflect lasers to make it less impressive in neutral. In addition, he has dash back out a laser, which is pretty strong because of UCF, and while shooting DK in the air can turn him around, he has mix-ups with take laser into double jump dare, like a Falcon would. Even in shield, Falco has to avoid the omnipresent up B out of shield within their pressure strings. If they can do that, Donkey Kong could get locked down for a long time. A classic spacey mix-up exists, where early aerials can clip DK's movement, but will get eaten alive by DK's out of shield game, with moves like shield grab and up B and bear out of Classic spacey mix-up exists, where early aerials can clip DK's movement, but will get eaten alive by DK's out of shield game, with moves like shield grab and up B. Conversely, late aerials and lasers can do very well on DK's shield, but lose to some of DK's movement and preemptive move mix-ups like early bear. It's a fun and fast-paced matchup for the whole family. Donkey Kong's combo game is about the same on Falco as it is on Fox, with 1 or 2 grabs potentially leading to death or an edgeguard. Edgeguarding Falco is also slightly easier than Fox in some ways, as one correct coverage could lead to the Falco stock in a situation where Fox may get another chance. There are aspects that are more difficult forever. A move like Donkey Kong up B and back air can create problems off stage for recovering Fox, versus recovering Falco, unless you're kind of preemptive and early side B could potentially clip you, and reversal. While DKs are pretty good against Falcos in tournament, I believe that based on how much the top Falcos are learning, the Falcos should be seeing higher rewards soon. It's a rough matchup on both ends. But let's get into the Spaceys dilemma. June, how can Spaceys beat DK if DK keeps beating Spaceys in tournament? There's too many DK upsets on high-level Spaceys to count. DK wins punish, Spaceys win neutral, which is more important? I tend to think punish is more important because neutral is so variable. You add things like FD being available in a best of 5, and you really skew the punish advantage. Fox and Falco are amazing characters in Melee, it's no secret. I do think Spaceys have an interesting thing going for them where they're so execution and variance based that they can actually be worse characters in tournament. Meanwhile, DK is one of the most consistent characters that could ever exist in tournament. For this reason, the matchup can swing wildly, from Spacey's favor to even to maybe even DK's favor sometimes. There's certain times where a Spacey wins neutral versus me like 4 times in a row, only to get grabbed and 0 death, and I'm like, dang, is this matchup really Spacey favor? I don't think so. I think DK just touch of death Spaceys and is really consistent. I can lose to Spaceys like Kevin Maples and Zod due to them being way more familiar with me in the matchup. This could also be due to the lower stakes of regionals and locals, which can make Spaceys feel more consistent. There's too much of theory craft. So yeah, they get put in their own little category. Marth wins neutral with his combination of disjointed hitboxes and grounded movement. Marth's neutral is once again one of the best in the game. Stuff like auto-cancel Nair and walling aerials can make it difficult for DK to get in. And DK already struggles with approaching. Both of these characters love to grab one another, but Marth will have an easier time getting in. Marth may not win punish though, with DK's consistent follow-ups at all percents. This in combination with the threat of up throw punch can make it seem very brutal. While tech chasing DK can be powerful, it's a little more difficult than the sweet up throw follow-ups that Marth is used to getting. Both these characters have comparable brutal advantage states versus each other. Their up airs are literal god moves. They do everything when it comes to juggling, so it's no surprise that these moves juggle the other character really well. Marth and DK are similar in that they can both struggle to come down and will often default to the panic down air. Marth's offstage game can contest DK up B as well. DK can cover Marth's recovery in some ways, but sometimes he has trouble when they go low. I could see this matchup skewing to the Marth's favor if they nailed the edge guard, because it's potentially one of the best, rivaling Sheik. But it's way more complicated than the grab ledge, rinse repeat back air. Recently, we've had Calvar get farmed by DK, sorry Calvar. Wrangler take Zane to the brink, Quang defeat Ossify in 2 sets, to the point where Ossify counterpicked Bing with Sheik, and then we've had Marths like Kadoran do really well versus me and Quang, so it's weird. Marths are afraid of this matchup, but I do think they can do better. While I do think Peach still wins this matchup, it's a hard-fought winning matchup, and it may be potentially even. In neutral, unless the Peach is dedicated to zoning with turnips, Donkey Kong may win, with his combination of speed and disjoint with back air. He can stuff the Peach with back airs and down tilts around dash attack range, and call out shields with grab at closer range. He can up air Peach quite easily at any mid-float height, which can force the Peach to play grounded. Even if she plays the turnip game, DK can read it with Giant Punch and react at certain ranges. DK can also play a game of Hot Potato by catching turnips. The advantage is where the hard part starts. If the Peach gets through DK's wall, Peach's shield pressure is gross versus DK, as shield poking is quite easy. Something like down smash can very easily shield poke if the DK is not light shielding. We have spaced FC aerials being very safe versus DK up B, and the Peach can start calling out rolls. Any errant pressure height is going to be met with up B, up airs, or shield grab. DK can also do okay on advantage, as DK up air covers so much space for a landing Peach. DK's punish is decent versus Peach, but not amazing. Up throw up air strings can be DI'd. In a similar way, Peach's is decent. Down smash and down tilt could potentially rack up lots of damage. Edge guarding, I give advantage to Peach. DK can cover zones, but ultimately does not have a guaranteed edge guard on Peach. Meanwhile, float, down air, and back air can cover ranges that many characters struggle to cover versus DK. While I tend to do well versus Peach in tournament, it has never felt like a winning matchup to me. Plus, whenever I play current top 10 player Traphasia, it makes me feel like there's nothing DK can do to hit a hyper-disciplined Peach. But I mean, I do think Mo can make it look like DK's speed advantage is all he needs. Now, let's go to the characters I think DK goes even with. This is probably the spiciest take of the video, as I think Puff could go even with Donkey Kong. In many ways, Puff and DK play this matchup similarly. They both have giant spaced bears that they can throw out with little risk. Puff can zone out with back air versus most of the cast for free. DK's ability to challenge vertically with up air and horizontally with back air can make it difficult for standard zoning. Both Jigs and DK shark quite well. DK can flail about with his down air, drift, and double jump, but his weight also makes things like up air sharking a little more difficult. Puff's landing mix-ups are somewhat free versus the entire cast, but any lazy drift or attempt to drift in without the appropriate mix will be met by a DK up air or up B. DK also racks up damage very quickly on Puff, with a combination of throws and up air. While cargo up throw up air is not a kill confirm on Puff, it will confirm at lower percents, and down throw tech chase is an interesting mix-up. DK might have a weird enough matchup that Puff is going to have trouble. Both Puff and DK have early kills with Rest and Punch respectively, albeit Puff Rest can be comboed into more. DK's large hurt box can make common Rest setups with up tilt and drill much harder to avoid. But when Rest isn't landed, DK has incredible survivability in this matchup. Even if Puff wins neutral 2-1, which I don't think she does, DK could potentially survive for 2 entire Puff stocks. Puff edgeguards most of the cast without batting an eye. DK has a recovery that is tricky for Puff though. He maintains large control over his drift, and has invincible hands. This makes it difficult for Puff to clip him with Fair or Bear that would negate many other characters' recoveries. Overall, DK's ability to contest Puff's neutral while matching her early knockouts and not getting edgeguarded that hard makes up for Puff's extremely top-tier attributes. DK is not beating the Super Puff allegations. While Puffs have been getting the better of DKs of late, with SDJ getting the legendary 2 Kong victory it tipped off, I do believe DK has a lot of stuff in this matchup. Shoutouts to Akir as well with his win over HBox online, even though HBox has been very dominant versus DK on LAN. We'll have to see what happens in the future. Yoshi is the reversal dinosaur, and DK has many moves that mitigate this. Well, whether it is up B through double jump armor, pressuring shield drop with different timings of up B, or punch/fair to knock Yoshi out of armor, he can actually deal with it without the threat of being reversaled for heading a button. DK is quite susceptible to Yoshi's shield pressure though, as Yoshi can dance around the shield without the fear of getting upbeat as long as he's in front of it. Double jump armor can be good at getting around moves like back air and neutral as well, similar to how Yoshi can deal with Puff spaced aerials. But Yoshi also mitigates a big factor of DK, which is his combo game. Double jump armor will punish DK if he goes to extend his strings beyond a few hits. DK's hurt box will be combo fodder for Yoshi as well, with up air, up tilt, and F tilt strings being taken pretty far. DK does get some nice kill confirms though, with up throw, punch, and up air, and fair. I could see this matchup going either way in the future, as DKs rarely play Yoshis, so this matchup will certainly be underdeveloped for the time being. I was able to take a game off of Amsa with little experience in true Mickey Mouse fashion, but yeah, that was probably some of both of our first times playing against a high level of the other player. On the other side, shoutouts to Daniel, the MDVA Yoshi, for taking many top DKs to the brink, whether it be myself, Kwang, or Bing. Let's go on to the winning matchups for DK. And first we have Pikachu. Pikachu outspeeds DK, which can certainly help in the neutral, but the combination of DK back air and combos can make it very difficult for Pika. If Pika begins to dash dance camp DK, he can charge punch and board the platforms, making the matchups a little more difficult. A punch out of cargo up throw can kill Pika as early as 50% on some stages. While DK doesn't excel at edgeguarding Pikachu, it doesn't really matter when the kill confirms exist as they do. As always versus Pikachu, crouch cancel and turnaround shield can help deal with Nair. However, I will say I haven't played against the new age of Pikachu that much. If the Pikachu speed factor was to increase to the point where I think neutral is way too tough, like a Falcon, or Pika's punish was to increase, then maybe I could see it going Pikachu's favor. But right now, it's trending towards the DK, might be DK's favor. Side note, I wrote this section before SmashCon, and yeah, I definitely think it's winning now. Recency bias, full on effect. Pikachu has to work so hard against Donkey Kong, and DK wins this matchup now. I'm heavily affected by practicing hard against Pikachu at Supernova, and having the simple punish game plan work so effectively, even worse the best players in Axe. Okay, Samus. So, back in the day, it was thought that missiles could shut down DK. How does DK deal with projectiles, right? Well, evolving meta, DK can face backwards. He has moves like Bear and F-Tilt, which simply beat missile. He does pretty well in neutral in this matchup as well, as DK can punish things like down tilt and down smash on shield. He can power shield missiles and back air through them, and he has the speed advantage versus Samus, which can enable a strong platform and ground game. Samus and DK both have hard punishes, but DK's, I think, is a little better, and he gets kill confirms at higher percents with grab. This is huge versus Samus, who gets away with not getting grabbed into killed by many of the top tiers. Samus doesn't have the best advantage versus DK either. The threat of shield grab and up B out of shield can make Samus's quote-unquote fake pressure feel extra fake. DK gets stomp out of shield and wave dash out of shield grab versus spaced Samus down tilt and down smash, and DK can juggle Samus for a really long time due to up airs. DK can edgeguard Samus quite well with Baron up B. You can like take the bomb and then Samus has to like freak out or something. But Samus also edgeguards DK pretty well. The ability of DK to get kill confirms while zoning her, I think gives him the edge in this matchup. I've only really played this matchup with Wevens and Theorycraft with Aklo, but it definitely seems DK favored based on the amount of outplays Samus needs versus DK. Ganon. Ganon's pretty good at playing neutral with DK. He has good hitboxes, zoning DK out with fairs and back airs. DK can wall with his own aerials or go for an approaching up air read on a jump. But yeah, DK's advantage really comes from punish game. Ganon's punish game is based on like really tight chain grabs and reads. DK's is a single grab into up air, which can be very easy to get and huge. And then edge guarding him is even easier than it is Falcon. And DK's recovery is kind of hard for Ganon to edgeguard. Watch the DK versus Ganon crew battle for a primer on this matchup. In short, Ape is greater than evil. Okay, so the Marios. I used to think these matchups were bad for DK. The Marios don't get combo that hard and can combo DK a lot off grab. But the more I looked into it, the worse it seemed for them. It pains to admit me, the turn down for Walt could be right. Neutral for the Mario Bros is difficult, with DK's back air taking up 2 characters. You can fit 2 Mario Bros in the space that DK back air takes up. Camping DK is not too powerful either. Doc and Mario neutral Bs get beat out by F-tilt and back airs. Luigi's neutral B almost non-existent. Attempting to play on plats is met by DK headbutt, and ground game is pretty stuffed. The punish game is pretty weird. While Mario's do have a solid combo game on DK, it can be mitigated by their like weight-dependent throws and DK's proclivity for CC. It can be solid, but it's inconsistent. Meanwhile, DK's Mr. Consistent. Doc and Mario get guaranteed up throw up air killed. Luigi does not, but he gets thrown off the stage, as he has one of the more exploitable recoveries in the game. DK's edge guarding tools really come into play. Spinning Kong is just so good at dealing with Luigi, Mario, and Doc. Yeah, I feel like both the Marios and Luigi don't edge guard DK that hard. Luigi can edge guard him harder than Mario and Doc, because Cape is just non-functional against DK. Yeah, I hate Walt, but he's right, maybe. I couldn't predict DK getting this much better in the past couple years, and the Mario Bros just getting like no representation. We need more high-level Mario Bros to like truly experience this matchup, but yeah, right now, DK favor. All right, 6'4" but good. Ness and Mewtwo. Ness and Mewtwo have strengths as a character that DK just sort of mitigates by existing. Ness Fair is an extremely disjointed multi-hit that can outspace many moves. DK back air can outrange it at times, and DK can also CC grab when not spaced correctly. Mewtwo has a recovery that enables him to potentially never get edge guarded. DK has grab and to kill. So, yeah. Both these characters die incredibly early to DK, and DK lives forever versus them. Moves like Mewtwo Nair and Down Tilt, which are incredible neutral openers for him in other matchups, get owned by up B and down hold grab. Top players make these characters a little trickier to deal with, and I'm sure the combo game on DK could be optimized to be amazing, but the combination of difficult neutral and getting owned off stage means that Ness can definitely not do it right now, and neither can Mewtwo. So these are 6'4", but they're annoying, Young Link and Link. So these characters can play really well to beat DK. Back in my days, playing a zoner character, I assumed the zoner could beat the grappler with ease, just win neutral 10 times in a row, I thought. Well, winning neutral 10-1 is much easier said than done these days, and the Link's combo weights make it so easy for DK. When I get zoned out by the Links and take like 20%, I'm like, nice. I know that all I need is a couple openings, and the damage they get for winning neutral will be mitigated. Maybe there's some hype bomb shenanigans I don't know about, and Red X will acid drop me to death, but I'm gonna bank on my Diddy Kong item play to mitigate projectiles and also kill these guys in a couple hits. We have the worst matchups now. Bowser and Roy. Bowser's strength as a character is based on reversals when touching his shield, and the maneuverability during grounded up B. DK can choose to space aerials around up B range and grab Bowser's shield again and again and again. Then once he's grabbed, DK's combo game on Bowser is brutal, versus Bowser's combo game on DK is going to be a lot of stray hits. I haven't really played a Bowser that gave me issues. Maybe Load Spiller would, but Bowser's strengths get negated by DK. Roy is the perfect combo weight for DK. Bear outranges all of his normals, and down tilt is mitigated by CC. It is a matchup so bad that it transcends games. PM, DK, and Roy are both buffed versions of themselves, and yet DK still deletes Roy. Just ask Zane about my DK versus Roy. And then we have characters that I haven't really thought about, but I'd be surprised if they're losing for DK. He gets really early kills on all these guys, but I'm not really sure about the neutral. I'm sure once I lose to a Game & Watch, I'll be forced to think about it a little, but yeah, this is how I feel right now. Walmart Shoes was telling me some stuff about Game & Watch back air can be very solid for Game & Watch in this matchup. At the same time, DK kills Game & Watch at like 20%. I'm not qualified to talk on these matchups as I haven't played them enough, but right now, based on gut feeling, I feel like DK wins. This is a philosophical part. What does a winning matchup feel like? I've played many winning matchups, and to me, that usually feels like my opponent has to make the outplay. I am winning more situations than my opponent. DK feels weird because even in his losing matchups, he only has to make a couple outplays to make a crazy comeback. Even in the winning matchups, it feels really bad to not be on point and lose to DK due to a shield grab. I have been the arbiter and receiver of many such losses, so I get it. But also, I deserve this. I've suffered so much, only me. Even so, I still think in a theoretical high-level meta, where people understand DK very well, this is what matchups can look like. I can totally see characters discovering tech that increases or decreases their matchup, and the DKs can push too. They can continue to upset top-level Spaceys and make that matchup feel even, maybe even monkey favored. There's no way to predict the progression of meta, and it's part of this beautiful, competitive fighting game we're all growing in and participating in together. I think that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. This was a long one. It's almost like a video essay because of how much I have to talk about Donkey Kong. And this is like, I left out so many details too. Like this easily could have been like an hour-long video. Wow. Yeah, Donkey Kong's crazy. Matchups are crazy in Melee. But yeah, that's it, guys. Hope you enjoy this. Try to keep it accessible. Big shout-outs to all my fans and supporters. Subscribe, interact, and follow me on Twitch if you want to keep seeing content like this. Follow me on YouTube. I'll link my Patreon in the description, and my Twitter and my Discord for those interested in coaching. And shout-outs to Nouns. They are my sponsor now, Little Nouns. Please support Nouns and all of their Melee endeavors. I've linked them below. Till next time, peace.